Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Spontaneous Stories Live. So today we are going to talk about the fundamentals of any communication. But before to go through this, for who doesn't know me, let me introduce very quickly. My name is Riccardo Ginevri. There is something that, oh, cool. Let me, this, sorry, technical things. So my name is Riccardo Ginevri. I am a storytelling coach and, communication trainer. My background is like 7 years of helping my colleagues in a large consulting company to ace their communication. But my background is related to project and program management. So I have the experience, have witnessed how communication impact professional world, because I've been in project, I've been in bid, and I have seen how a good communication can make a team more working together, more successful, and I see how a good communication can win client sales, and I see how bad communication can bring to very huge problems. So that's about me, very shortly. And so why today I'm here to talk about the fundamental of public speaking, and I do really hope that this is going to be helpful for you. If first of all, we are in live in LinkedIn, and we are live in YouTube. I have a monitor here on my side that should bring the comments live. So if you have any comments, please drop a comment into the chat, and I will reply to your comments. So it's very good to have an interactive connection. That's basically the idea of the live. I mean, be more interactive. But if it's not going, if you are no question, if you don't want to jump in, no worries at all. Now let's go back to the point. What today, the talking point of today. Talking point of today is coming from a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks ago, I was sitting in a very good pizzeria. I don't do any names right now here in London, but there are good pizzeria also here in London. In front of a very good pizza with my Toastmasters mentee. So basically, in Toastmasters, when new members join our club, we assign people to support them in their learning path. And we were talking about her next speech, that is basically the second speech that she was going to deliver. And we were looking to, okay, how to write the speech, how to make the speech more interesting, but also how to make the speech more close to her, to what is her behavior, what is her way to speak. And while we were talking, I realized that when you are, it's always good to go back to the fundamentals. When you are going to talk, when you're going to communicate, it's always good that you have a clear in mind the structure of the communication. And I don't want to spend dig into more complex things. I will, during the next few minutes, I will talk, I will go a little bit back in time to the rhetoric, to Aristotle, to Cicero. But first of all, I would like just to give you very quickly the three elements that you need always to consider when you start talking. If it's a keynote speech, when you prepare your speech, of course, don't just start talking. When you prepare your speech, when you start talking in an impromptu speech. An impromptu speech is a speech that you have you are delivering without a preparation. The classical example of impromptu speech in a professional environment is you are in a meeting room and someone say, "Hey Riccardo, what do you think about that?" You are completely unprepared and then you have to stand or let's say just stay sitting and bring your point to the table. That's an impromptu speech. Nothing prepared, but you have to say something, you have to build something that makes sense in, let's say, 1-2 minutes maximum. Sometimes instead you have a prepared speech. So you sit at the table and then you write your speech, you go through the elements. And this was exactly what I was doing with my mentee in front of the juicy pizza. But the point is, whatever is an impromptu speech or whatever is a prepared speech, you always need to have clear in mind the elements of every communication. So if it's a speech, if it's a sales bid, if it's a lecture, or as I mentioned in my post, if it's a casual summer will come soon barbecue or springtime barbecue, you need to make sure that you have a clear in mind the elements. Then you can decide to use or don't use it. But every communication is based on 3 elements. 1, 2, nice. Okay, so what are these 3 elements? The 3 elements are the first element is the content. So what you are talking about, I will make it simple. The second element is the structure. How I'm going to talk, how I'm going to communicate my content. I will go over in a second. And the final one is the delivery. So how I will deliver, how I will communicate, I will use the voice, the gesture, yeah, and the body to communicate my my content in a right way. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to shift to this other video that is very nice because I have my white table and so I can use this table to sketch a little bit of a sketch. Okay, so I mentioned these 3 elements. Okay, and the first element that I mentioned is the content. Okay. Oh. Content. So the first element is the content. The content is what we want to talk about. So now let's give an example. We want to talk about the first time that we were hired in our company. We want to talk about the moment that we got this call from HR, and that was saying to us, okay, you are going to be hired. Okay, that's the content. They want to tell a story that when I was hired by my dream company. Okay, this is just an example, but your content could be different. Okay, then the second element is as I mentioned before, is the structure. So when I talk about the structure, is the structure. Okay, so when I want, this circle is not really, but yeah. When I'm going to talk about the structure, I mentioned, I would like to that you think about the story of when I was hired by my dream company. How I would like to structure the story? I would like just to structure the story um, following, for example, the moment before that I was sending my CV. So and then the moment that my CV, I got the call for interview, and then the moment that final I got the call. So it's like is a you understand the structure is the past, the present, and maybe the future. So it's three different moments. It's like a temporal structure. Or I can decide to structure in a different way. I can decide to start from the moment that HR communicate me something and then just go a little flashback when I was sending the interview, or just start from that moment and I mention why this company was so important for me. Okay. For example, I can tell about the fact that what are the pros and the cons of be hired on this company. For example, no talking about the timing of my story, but telling about why it was so important to be hired in this company. Imagine that this company was like a company for sustainability, and I was always looking to work for a company that have a purpose. So I work a little bit of my structure, telling about more about the company than more about my hiring moment. Okay, but the moment that I got the call from HR, that's the other kind of structure that I can use. I would like to say that when we talk about the structure, and we move to delivery in a second. When we talk about the structure, always stick to the basics until you don't feel comfortable to go to other more complex structure. The basics are, remember always, you need to have an opening. Okay, easy, because you got the attention of who is speaking with you. Then you need to have a body when you build your content, and then you have a closure. This structure always work, and then you can put in this structure different elements. You can use the opening body and the end with the timing. The opening is something that happens in the past, and then the body is the central point, and the closure is the future, something like that. I don't dig into this detail, but the structure is important. You can dig a lot of in the structure. While the content is very personal, the content is, everyone has his own content. Everyone is talking about something that really matter for him. Okay, I'm a lover of wine, I'm a lover of Formula One, I'm a lover of football, I'm a lover of shopping, whatever it is. I'm a professional that I talk always about artificial intelligence. The content is very related to me. The structure, on the other way, it's something that I can reuse, use in a different way. Okay, and finally, the third element, let's move quickly. The third element that is the delivery. That's it, the delivery. So now, the delivery, it's easy to get. What is the delivery? Delivery is how deliver my message. And I really go quick on this, but the delivery is a very important. And when I say that the delivery is very important, I don't want to push anyone to not be himself or herself. So everyone have his own way to deliver a communication, have his own way to speak. However, there are some few adjustments that can make my way, your way to deliver a communication more impactful. I think that I can dig more in detail in this. But the point is that delivering your message is important. Same way of the content of your message and the structure. The three elements are working together like a stool, okay? Like imagine a stool with the three legs. If one of the legs is not there, the stool is, your message is not standing. And this is very true, because if you think that, for example, just let's do an example. I would like to see if someone is online. I can ask question, someone can answer. Yeah, for the moment, no one is really online. So let's ask a question. Maybe you can answer by yourself when you watch the replay. So if I am someone that have a great content and a very good structure, so I have a content and a structure, okay? What kind of communication do you think is content and structure? No delivery. We have a content and structure. Very good content, very well structured. Well, I would like to say that this content and structure is a lecture. To me, it could be much more a lecture. Well, the lecture, the content is very important. The structure sometimes is very dictated by the lecture. So content and structure, lecture. And sometimes it's a little bit boring. I mean, come on, say, how many times you have been at the uni or the schools? Interesting content, amazing, let's say, point by point, bullet by point. But you know what? You was really killing the attention. Well, this is close to a lecture. I mean, I don't want to say that all the lectures are like this, but could be. And what about if you have a great content and a sparkling delivery? Any idea? Any idea? No. See? I wait. The streaming comes to the point. Okay, no one is daring. I can tell you, great content for me and amazing delivery, well, to me is a sales pitch. It's a sales pitch because you have a great content. You have a content that is technology content, is the content of your business. You have a great content and you want to be very, very much convincing. You want to make sure that your audience, your let's say the dragon's den, the people that have to found your company is really engaged in what you are saying, feel your passion, feel your will to succeed. So content and delivery most likely is a sales pitch. It doesn't mean that all the sales pitch are content delivery, but I feel that you are doing a sales pitch. Great content, your idea, and amazing delivery. This is why sometimes some sales really, some great idea really don't nail their pitch. They don't nail their founding. They don't get the interest and attention that is needed, because probably the delivery is not so great. Okay, finally, structure and delivery. What is structure and delivery and no content? Or let's say content that is not like so important and not memorable. Content that is not so heavy. Any idea? You're very well structured. You have a very good organized step by step what you want to say when I want to say. And you have an amazing way to say these things, poses, voice. Okay, spot on. I think, from my point of view, structured delivery is entertain. entertain speech. Structured delivery, it could be the speech, the wedding speech of your best man. Structured delivery could be a comedian. I mean, a light comedian, stand-up comedian, no really heavy content, much more like interesting fact, just put connected nonsense wording, just put together to make people laughing. So no great content. Of course, again, it's a simplification, but I think that makes sense. I mean, from my point of view, makes sense. I would really like to know if this makes sense to you. Drop a comment right now. Drop a comment later on. But my point is, the three pillars, content, structure, delivery, should be always in your mind. When you're going to talk, always consider, okay, what is my message? What I'm going to say? What is my message? What is the content? How I'm going to tell my message? I'm going to make sure that everyone is listening to me. I'm going to opening hook, grabbing the attention. How long I will talk into the body of my message, the main part of the message, and how I close my communication. If there is, I close say, if there is one thing that I would like you to remember, or I close to say, let's go now and call to action, do this. Structure, always in mind. And then the delivery. Are you going to talk just frozen in front of the camera, or you're going to put your passion, or it's a situation where you're in a meeting? As I mentioned, my background is very professional. My background is a project and program manager. And of course, when I was in status report meeting, and when I was talking to the client, well, I know I was no like passionate, moving like this, but I was making sure that I was pondering my words in a way that was very clear what my message was. Choosing the right words is in between of the three elements. Choosing the right words can change the weight of your message. So the content is your message. The decision which word you use is still part of your content. But the way you use your word, the way you pound your word, the way you tone, pitch, put the energy in your word is a part of this. So think about that. All the elements works together. So you are sitting in front of your juicy pizza, preparing your next keynote speech, preparing your next sales speech, preparing your next Toastmasters. Think the three elements. What is the content? What is my message? What is the structure? I would like to go through my message. I would like to organize my message. It's a timing. I would like to have a strong opening. I would like to have a debating. I would like to have a thesis and antithesis. What's good, what's bad, and then reinforce what's good. Demonstrate everyone that this is the path, this is the way, as a famous Mandalorian was saying. And then delivery. Oh, I'm going to deliver my message. And of course, all the three elements. In the middle of the three elements, there is the audience. So the audience is it's our like lighthouse. Nice man. The audience is the lighthouse. Is the direction that we need to bring our content, our structure, our delivery. It's very important. It's our content, but in the end, it's a content that should interest the audience. It's exactly what I'm doing right now. I hope that my content related to these three elements and the way that I'm structuring my life and the way that I'm delivering my life it's interesting also for my audience. Because if I do for myself, well, I can record myself, I can rewatch to myself, but there is no point. So I hope that using delivering with the notepad, talking about this kind of example, making this a little bit more interesting, this is making more connected with my audience. That's happening in every situation, in every keynotes. Next time that you watch a TED Talk, next time that you attend a speech, next time that you are in a meeting room, listen to everyone that is speaking and ask yourself, what is the content? What this person is saying? How this person is structuring his arguments? How this person is delivering? And then you will find that the people that are more successful, the people that are more memorable, engaging, well, are the one that almost all the three elements are well balanced together. Now, I promise before to dig a little bit in more detail on this conversation about the fundamentals of speaking, fundamentals of communication, and so on. Just checking if any comments is around. No comments around. Okay, so let me go with a new. You may Google, you may find if you Google that 3,000 years ago, more or less 2,000 years ago, a guy called Aristoteles in Greece shape the elements, talk about the elements of the rhetoric and art of persuasion. So now Aristoteles says that if we want to persuade someone, if you want to make a speech, an oratio, an oratoria that is it's a persuading, you need to have three elements in your in your speech. Okay, you need to consider in your oratoria. So one element is called the logos. Of course, they are in Greek. I will go in a second to them. One other element, it's called pathos, and the third element, it's called ethos. So what logos is? Logos is basically is the logic, okay? Is the reasoning. So Aristotle was saying that if you want to convince someone, because his focus was on persuasion, okay? His focus was based on the fact that you want to persuade someone with your argument. That's why you do your orazione, your oratorio, your speech. So you need to have a logical argument. You don't just have to put things disconnected together. You need to have a strong reasoning, one after the other, cause, effect, connection. You need to have a strong reasoning. That's the logos. But it's not enough. You can be the very good in connect and be very logical, like a mathematical person or scientific person. But if you miss to connect with your audience, pathos, and then I tell you why the pathos is the connection, this is not working. So now the pathos in Aristotle's mind was related to the pathos are the emotions, okay? Are the emotions. So how I elicit emotions in my audience. And he was saying, yeah, you're good in reasoning, but you needed to connect with your audience. You needed to make sure that your audience feel emotions of what you are saying. And how to do this? The emotions are in an intrinsic way connected to the values. So you needed to make sure that when you do your reasoning, your speech, your persuasion, you touch the value of your audience. Again, the audience here is sitting into the fact that you need to make sure that you elicit emotion in your audience. And that was the pathos. Connect with the value of your audience to elicit emotions. And finally, Aristotle was talking about the ethos. Now, the ethos in the ancient, but also today, the meaning of the ethos was related to the credibility. When I started this live, I introduced myself. I'm Riccardo. It's 7 years that I'm doing. I'm helping colleagues in be better communicator. Someone else can open a live and say, "Oh, I have delivered 3 TED Talk, 10,000 millions." This is like establishing credibility, establishing that I am entitled to speak. So probably my 7 years are not really great, but yeah, I tried, let's say, to make it some credibility, to put some credibility on the table. Sometimes your credibility or your reputation, it's preceding you. Okay, if you are a famous person and you go and walk in a room for a keynote, everyone knows that you are that famous person. Everyone knows that you are a famous scientist, an actor, or you are very good in your field, whatever it is. So this is like reputation connected to the credibility. So you are automatically credible. If you enter in a room or in a keynote, if you are around the table and no one knows you, you present yourself. I'm Riccardo. I'm the PMO manager of this program. I'm the PMO manager of the, I don't know, PMO organization. I have driven so many projects and I have some idea on how these things are going on. You establish your credibility, okay? And the ethos for Aristotle was very important. It was very important because the ethos was like the fundamental for Aristotle. So you are going to speak in front of people why we should listen to you, and this is connected. So the ethos is credibility and connected to the trust. Why we should trust you, okay? These were the 3 elements at Aristotle's time that was like shaping the basics of a persuasion. Why I'm talking you about this? Because you can recognize that the 3 elements that I mentioned you before are very well connected to these 3 elements. They are not like matching one by one, but they are very connected to these 3 elements. I would like to say that these 3 elements are a little bit too old, but they are still good. You can see them in this way or you can see them in the other way. I do really prefer the previous way because it's much more like straightforward thinking and dividing your speech, your information in content, structure, and delivery. These 3 elements are much more focused on especially the ethos part, as much more focus on the elements related to the persuasion, on the elements related to the fact that you want to achieve a specific goal with your speech. If you are in a situation where your trust and credibility has not yet established, but you are going to build it on with your speech, you don't really need the ethos kicking in and balancing all your speech. You will build it. That's why I'm not really digging into this. But these 3 elements are always good to keep in mind. Always good to keep in mind that you need to have a good reasoning. You need to have a connect with your audience in an emotional way. And if you touch the value are important. And the ethos, you need to have a little bit of credibility. So I don't want to say that when you start your speech, you need to establish your credibility, but depending of the kind of the speech, you may need to establish your credibility. Sometimes yes, sometimes not. It's a really related to probably influencing the structure. I have other 10 minutes. So if you want to stay with me other 10 minutes, I would like to talk about another big of the arts of oratoria that is still lived 2000 years ago, a little bit less than 2000 years ago, is a Cicero from Roma, from ancient Roma. So in Roma, the importance of speaking was really paramount. Roma was based on the fact that you were able to engage with people and make sure that people were listening to you. And senators were very, very skilled in these arts. And Cicero was one of these, was a lawyer, was a speaker, was a Roman. And he wrote different, a lot of books, but he wrote a couple of books that was shaping the arts of oratoria. And in his book, he was always saying Greece and the ancient orators in Greece were at the peak of the arts of oratory. So he was recognizing that what Roma inherited from Greece was the great base of culture, and especially the culture of the reasoning, the arts of oratory. But Cicero was much more pragmatic man, and in his books he says, when you're going to prepare or deliver a communication, you need to follow these 5 elements. And I would like to mention to you these 5 elements today. So now I'm going not to do 5 circles, because it's a little bit more complicated to make 5 circles. I mean, maybe I can do it, but this was not like this. So Cicero says there are 5 elements that you need to consider when you are 5 canons you need to consider when you are delivering, or when you are preparing and delivering a speech, an oratoria. So the first one is the invention. Okay? So the invention is basically the moment that you decide what you are going to talk about. Okay? The second element is, or the second step is the arrangement. Actually, the arrangement is much more close to the structures. So how I would like to organize the different elements of my speech. I would like to say this before, I would like to organize this before, I would like to, the arrangement is easy. I sort things in the way that works for my speech. And it's very, very connected to the structure that I mentioned before. The third element is the style. So here the style is, in Cicero books, is referring to refining your speech using the right wording that resonate with your audience, that works with your audience. So it's the refining. It seems simple to say, but style, it's very hard, because you need to choose the right words that resonate the right people. And I would like to do a little example. The example that comes in my mind is the very famous speech of J.F. Kennedy related to the moon, to the man on the moon. So actually, most of the people remember the speech that J.F. Kennedy did for the public, in front of the public, I don't remember the university. I'm not really good at remembering things. It was in front of the public. Everyone remembered the speech. We don't want to go to the moon because it's easy, but because it's hard. We want to put a man on the moon. The wording and the way that Jeff Kennedy was delivering the speech was very simple. Wording was simple. We want to put a man on. Very, very clear image. The same speech, or the speech that is connected to the moon, to starting the moon race, Jeff Kennedy delivered the same speech to the Congress to request the funding, to make sure that the program, the Apollo program, was getting the right funding. So if you listen that speech was much more technical, was much more talking about not just about the budget, not just about the money, but was talking about the fact that the technology, it was talking that United States have the will and the power and the technology, and was really digging in much more precise wording, much more technical wording, because he was in front of the Congress, because the audience was different. Same topic, similar topic, one for the people, one for everyone, one for the masses, one other for the Congress, for the congressmen that have to decide and vote for the budget. It was a really amazing way. That's the style. And finally, actually we are number 1, 2, 3, I mentioned 5. So number 4, it's a memory. Now, memory, if you imagine that at the time of Cicero, there were no printing, no way to easily, let's say, write things, so was key to have a way to memorize your speech in a proper way, because it was not easy, let's say, to have things written. People were writing, let's say, on tablets or on a piece of paper that are very expensive. So when you were preparing your speech, then you have to memorize. And Cicero gave a very good tips and hints on how to memorize your speech. The most famous one was the method of Loci, that I'm not going to dig into this, but memorizing was important thing. Today, memorizing is very related to the final delivery, and the word that I would like to mention here is memorizing means that you need to interiorize your speech. Never repeat your speech like a robot, unless you are, in front of a big public. You need to make sure that your speech is exactly working in the way that you want. So you have a lecturer, you have a auto cue, a teleprompter, whatever it is, and then you're reading your speech. But memorizing is very important, because if you memorize, or better, if you interiorize, make your speech, finally, this will support your delivery. That is a final point. This will support your delivery in a proper and strong way. So these are the 5 points, and I don't dig into the delivery. The delivery was exactly what the delivery I mentioned. So sitting or standing on the shoulder of these two giants, Aristotle and Cicero, I distilled, it's not just a Riccardo idea, but it's you can find also, you can Google it, but you cannot find this. I put this together, and I say probably the most easiest way to remember the fundamental are having these 3 elements that put complex elements together. So one is the content, okay? So one is the content, what I'm going to say, okay? One is the structure, so how I'm going to say it, and one is the delivery. And then you can remap then through this. The key message is here is despite how you divide the way that you create a speech. If you always have in mind the three elements, content, structure, delivery, what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, and how I organize my speech, you will never fail. Your communication never fail. So you can dig it, you can understand, you can study a little bit the five canons, you can study a little bit the logos, the pathos, and the ethos. But if there is one thing that I would like to leave back today, and let's change back main screen. If there is one thing that I would like to leave back today to you, are actually these three elements: content, structure, and delivery. Content, structure, delivery. Every time that you are going to communicate, what is my message? How I want to deliver my message, and how, in sense of the structure, I want to organize my message together, and how I want to deliver it. I want to put passion. I want to put more gravitas. I want to make sure that the tone of the voice is balanced. Always think these three elements, and your communication will never fail. Final recommendation: I'm a storyteller, because we are talking about spontaneous stories today. I drift a little bit far from storytelling, but storytelling is still there. Why storytelling is still there? Because if you think to the storytelling, fairy tales, they work exactly in that way that you tell a story, or the way that we were used to tell stories are human, is exactly matching content, structure. What is the story is about? Structure: once upon a time, who, where, the delivery, the wolf, or the whatever it is, the passion, changing the voice. The delivery of the story is bringing the story. Then again, back to the content. Is the point why I'm telling this story? What is the main message? I'm telling the story just for the sake of telling the story. I'm telling the story because there is another level of reading the story, multiple levels. But storytelling, it's a great tool to learn all of these elements and to see the way and the word that we communicate in a better way. Say wording. Say that I really hope that you enjoyed today live, talking about the three elements: content, structure, and delivery. If you want to enhance, improve, refine your ability to communicate, your ability to engage with the audience, just get in touch with me. The power of Be Coached is that I listen to you, and then I tell you, okay, we needed to adjust this element, we needed to adjust this element, we needed to power this element. So we rebalance the three elements together. But this is the power of Be Coached, Be Mentored. Everyone is able to tell a story. I always say we are all a storyteller. We have in our DNA the capability to tell stories. Point is that some of us are not, they don't feel comfortable to tell stories. So if you are beginning, you have a fear to speak in public, you can do it. If you're already a public speaker, but you want to be more memorable, more engager, I can help you to balance the three elements, to dig into the detail of the three elements that make sense for you, that are connected. Just connect with me, and I have so many ways to help you. I have a so great experience, professional environment, Toastmaster environment. I have listened 1,000. I think that I'm close to 1,000 people talking, because I have trained more than 1,000 colleagues when I was in my previous company. So yes, I have listened 1,000 people, and I helped close to 1,000 people to really enhance their way to communicate, the way to use storytelling to be better communicator, to begin to be a better communicator. Say that, I really hope you have a great rest of the day, and yeah, happy storytelling. Ciao.